Welcome to Conversations with Pastor Charlie, a series of candid, insightful discussions offering a godly perspective on current events, interviews with people from all walks of life, and other topics the Lord places on Pastor Charlie's heart. Now here's Pastor Charlie.
Well, howdy. Since last Sunday was Father's Day, I wanted to take a few minutes tonight to talk directly to men. Now, here at East Houston Revival Center, since 2016, we've made it a point not only to honor fathers on Father's Day, but to honor men in general, whether they're biological fathers or not. For many years, we did that for women on Mother's Day, and we felt that it was important to do the same for men. Now, if you're looking for a message specifically about being a good father, I encourage you to go back and watch last Sunday's service. It's available on YouTube and Facebook. Now, as I was thinking about tonight, the Lord reminded me of something. Too many times in the past, I've found myself preaching at men instead of encouraging them. Yes, instruction is important. Men need guidance just like everyone else. But as a pastor, I should never neglect honoring and encouraging the people God has called me to serve. In fact, my own children have told me over the years, "Dad, you were always harder on us than the other kids." Well, my response was usually, "Well, you're my children. I expected more of you." Now, that's not an excuse, but it may explain why I've often been harder on men. I'm one of them. I know what we're capable of, and I expect more from us. But the Lord has been dealing with me about that. The truth is, our culture spends plenty of time tearing men down. So tonight, I want to spend some time building men up. The Bible tells us that we are created in God's image. Men and women both reflect God's nature, but they do so in unique ways. For example, Paul tells husbands to love their wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her. Now we know the church is called the bride of Christ. So tonight, I simply want to honor men. And I want to think about 3 simple reasons to say, "Thanks, Dad," or even just thanking a man. Number 1, thanks for material provision. Number 2, thanks for faithful instruction. And number 3, thanks for godly instruction. Or illustration, not instruction, illustration. So let's start with thanks for material provision. Now listen to what Paul wrote in 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 8. "But those who won't care for their own relatives, especially those living in the same household, have denied what we believe. Such people are worse than unbelievers." Now, those are very strong words. God places a high value on providing for your family. Food on the table, clothes on their backs, a roof over their head. But why does Paul say someone who refuses to provide is worse than an unbeliever? Well, it's because even unbelievers usually provide for their families. Let me tell you, I grew up in a poor home. My dad was not a Christian, but he worked hard and he provided for us. We didn't have much, but we had what we needed. And for that, I am thankful. So tonight, to all the fathers and men who have worked long hours, sacrificed, and done the best that they could to provide for their families, their loved ones, I say thank you. So let's move on to thanks for faithful instruction. Now, Ephesians chapter 6, verse 4 says, "And now a word to you, fathers. Don't make your children angry by the way you treat them. Rather, bring them up with the discipline and instruction approved by the Lord." Fathers, we need to teach our children all kinds of things. My daughter recently told me that she was glad that I made her learn to do things around the house, because now she is having to do it on her own. She held flashlights. She knows the name of tools. Why? Because she needed to know. I knew she would need to know one day. So when my kids were growing up, I often told them, don't be afraid to ask questions. You'll never learn anything if you don't ask questions. And like many parents, I probably said more than once, I don't care if everybody else is doing it. You aren't. Fathers, teach lessons about work, school, relationships, dating, driving, finances, responsibility, and life. Many times, those lessons aren't taught with words at all. They're taught through our example. I once read a story by a man named Jim Burton. He loved baseball and was thrilled when his son started playing. Because he knew the game so well, he noticed every mistake his son made. After every game, the drive home became a list of things his son needed to improve. Finally, one day, his son said, "Dad, could you please stop telling me everything I did wrong first? Tell me something I did right." What a powerful lesson. Instruction is important. Correction is important. But encouragement is important too. We need to be coaches, not critics. And men, whether you realize it or not, you are giving instruction to the people around you each and every day. So thank you for your faithful instruction. And finally, thank you for godly illustration. In other words, thank you for being an example. Paul said in 1 Corinthians 11:1, "And you should follow you should follow my example as I follow Christ." Now notice Paul didn't say, do everything I do. He said, follow me as I follow Christ. Paul wasn't perfect. Well, neither are we. There are things I've done in my life that I hope my children never repeat. I've made mistakes. I've failed. And I'm sorry for those times. I've been a poor example. But there are also some things I did right. There are some Christ-like qualities that I hope my children and grandchildren will carry forward. Things like faithfulness, integrity, hard work, kindness, and most importantly, loving people. Men, because you are called to reflect the heart of Jesus to those around you, I want to publicly say, thank you. Thank you for your provision. Thank you for your instruction. And thank you for your examples. Now, whether you're a father is still living, or maybe he's already gone home to be with the Lord, I want to encourage you to take a moment and simply say, thanks, Dad. Thank you, Dad.
Jesus is coming soon. Are you ready to meet him face to face? Are your family and friends ready to meet him face to face? Please be ready. Then help others get ready. God bless.